All right, look, tomorrow the sun is going to rise, and we're going to get a new AP Top 25, and number one is not going to be Kansas, Tyler. So with that sort of slate being clean, who deserves to be number one in America?
Tennessee will probably be number one, but that's not my number one team. I think it's going to go with Alabama, in my opinion, after watching them in the Smith Center. I walked out of there seeing their bigs, Omorier, mixed with Mark Sears, and their young guys. They have good veteran players, a good mix of young guys. And the amount of pressure and their athleticism and the way they play, downhill attacks, layups, threes, they looked like a team that could really contend. And right now, I know they lost to Oregon, but recently I'm going to go with Alabama. After just seeing them play at the Smith Center and the way they dominated the Tar Heels, my Tar Heels, it's hard not to believe that there's a better team out there than them right now when they're playing well.
I'm going to say the correct answer is Tennessee. The guys on the other side of the state that are actually winning games, John Martin. That's who I would say is.
What a shitty day for me. What a shitty day for me.
He's having to hold his own mic. His team lost to a team that's an hour away. We're going to get to Memphis in a little bit.
I need to hire an intern from Knoxville to come hold my mic. That's what I need to do.
Yeah, you do. Here's the thing with Tennessee is, last year they had Dalton Connect. This year there's a lot of turnover on the roster. And defensively, they're the same as they've always been. And they're second in the country behind Duke, who absolutely put their foot on the gas against Louisville in the second half. Pretty remarkable how good they can be defensively when they just decide to be that. We're not talking about Duke. We're talking about Tennessee. I feel like Tennessee's in the mix. You know how physical they are. They're not just beating teams. They're smoking them. And whenever you bring in transfers, and I think they get unfairly compared to Dalton Connect, there's no Dalton Connect. And Chaz Lanier was a very good player at North Florida, but whenever people brought him in, they were like, well, he could be our next Dalton Connect. I think he's a very good scorer, and he's a high-level scorer. That's obvious. You see what he's averaging so far. However, the way he scores is more conducive to the other players on the team having good nights as well. So that ball's popping around a little bit more. He's keeping it very simple. Everything he does is inside two dribbles. And as a result, if he doesn't have anything, some of these other guys are able to get going. I feel like Zakai Ziegler's had an even better offensive year, and he's still having his typical volume. I like Igor Milicic, what he's been able to bring to the table. I thought he was bad fit. Truth be told, I thought he was a bad fit. He just started playing defense by proxy. He goes to Tennessee. In Knoxville, they teach you defense. They teach you how to be physical, and he ended up being a plus on that end of the floor. It's also allowed Jordan Gainey to get some offensive rhythm and flow because he's allowed to be a bigger part of the offense. And sometimes these guys, guards in particular, and I was one of these guys, they're rhythm players. You have to be able to touch the ball some and move it around, and then you can kind of find creases in the defense in order to make yourself better on the offensive end. And that happens when the ball's popping. And that happens when you're feeling like you're a part of the offense. So as a result, you still have this high-level scorer like Chaz Lanier, but at the same time, it's not taking away from some of these other players. I'm not saying Dalton Connect did that, but I also know what it's like to play against super talented dudes, and you're told to go stand in the corner. Makes it really hard. And I feel like this Tennessee offense really fits well together.
By the way, as we speak, UCLA beats Oregon at the buzzer. The bank is open. The bank is open on a Sunday for UCLA. We'll get to that game, obviously, here momentarily. I want to follow up, Tio, with look, I can acknowledge a job well done. As much as it may pain me to do, I can acknowledge a job well done. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this will be the second number one ranking for Rick Barnes since he's gotten to Tennessee. I believe he got to number one at one point in 2019 as well. This, of course, is the coach who was, criticized quite a bit at Texas, for not getting the results in the tournament. I think there was definitely some skepticism over what he would be able to do at Tennessee. And, I mean, look, he's been consistently, objectively awesome at Tennessee. People thought this was like some kind of golden parachute, golden contract. It's been the opposite of that for him at Tennessee, if we're being honest, T.O.
Yeah, and here's the thing, too. I think there's a big problem at Texas. You feel like you have to win the offseason there. And at Tennessee, It's great to get like 1 or 2 McDonald's All-Americans, but if you look up and down the roster, like Zakai Ziegler was, I think Tennessee was like his only offer. Like Chaz Lanier is a transfer from North Florida. Milicic came from Charlotte. Like, so you can get guys that fit you. At Texas, you see it now. You see it when Shaka was there. You see it when Rick Barnes was there. You have to win every offseason, not necessarily the guy that fits you the best. And that's an issue.
Yeah.
Because sometimes like it's hard to get these freshman guys that are going to be here for a year to really buy into a team concept and culture. That being said, Shaka's found a better spot. Now Rick Barnes has found a better spot. As a result, you're able to see those guys have success.